one side, raising the plastic over the arches to cover it. This operation, meaning yung covering the greenhouse with the plastic, will require 4 people. So, nung mag-cover ako ng greenhouse ko sa bahay, tinawagan ko yung mga kapatid ko para tumulong in putting up the plastic. So, for totally exposed areas, I would recommend that you use a shade cloth to protect the plant from the heat. So, nakikita nyo yung black part sa ceiling ng greenhouse. It's very effective in protecting the plant from too much heat, especially during summer days. All right. So, nakita niyo yung blue clips on the side of the greenhouse. Ang tawag dyan is pipe clips. So, this is what you can see on the picture. So, yung pipe clips, this is a special material. This is also UV treated. So, hindi siya madaling brittle. So as you can see, there's yung sa ilalim na sample, that's actually a shade cloth, and ginamit nila yung pipe clips in attaching it. So you wrap around the plastic sa pipe, and then the pipe clip is supposed to hold it onto the pipe. So nandyan yung mga stores I mentioned here, yung mga specialty stores where you can buy these supplies, the plastic, the pipe clips that I mentioned earlier, the spring pipe clips, and these plastic clips, they can be bought from Harvest, East West, Allied Botanical, Hubi, and Manly. Yung mga nasa Luzon, madaling bilhin lang to. You can easily buy this kasi nandun yung mga factory nito and they're really cheap. Or, pag nasa mga provinces kayo, madali yung Lazada. Okay, it's almost the same price. Sometimes it's cheaper, especially it's coming from, usually made in China yung mga ganito. Locally, may mga gumagawa nito, yung Manly plastic, if you're familiar with that. They're really cheap. They're half the price of what these other stores are offering. So, yon. When we install the pipe clips, medyo matigas siya. So, the best thing to do, yung ginagawa ko, I would soak the clips in hot water before clipping it onto the plastic and pipes. So, yung plastic, it reacts very quickly or very fast with heat. So, it expands on hot days and constricts at night and during cold days. So, I would recommend now we install the plastic on a hot day. Try to don't overstretch the plastic kasi pag gabi, magko-constrict siya. So if you do that, the plastic will be ruined. Masisira siya sa end. And also, it's very, self-explanatory, do not install on a windy day. It will be very hard for you to do it on a windy day. Okay, it is important that we put up an anti-room. If you are a serious grower, let's say you really wanted to start a business with this and you're going to invest a lot of money in your system, you need to put up an anti-room. Yung sa greenhouse na nakikita nyo sa right, yung box dyan, that is an anti-room. So it is installed to protect the plants from insects and other pests. It should also allow the grower to disinfect himself or ensure that insects are not able to enter the greenhouse. So double door siya. Pag ang system niyan, pagbukas mo, isasara mo yung room, make sure na walang insects that were able to get in before you get into the second door. So, yun. Pag hindi ka naman serious grower, hobbyist ka lang, you don't need an anti-room. Yan. This is, marami nang tatanong, what would be a good system to start with if your thinking is to start a business? I designed this greenhouse for a fellow in Bohol about 6 or 7 years ago. This greenhouse can house up to 2,000 plants. Yung dimension ng greenhouse na to is 5 by I think 18 meters. So malaki yung yung dimension niya. So you can start this, just you know, a project to start with. Of course, you can always start with a smaller system. Yan. So this is how it looks like yung rendering niya. Yan. And then in the middle is where your nutrient is collected. So dinisign ko yung box na tatlo siya. So pwede siyang tamnan 3 times a week. I mean 3 times a month. So yung first box, makaka-harvest ka ng during yung first week. Then yun. So meron kang 3 harvest in a month if you plant 1 week apart from each other. So this type of greenhouse can give a good a good amount of money for a family who wants to go into this type of business. Yeah, I think that ends my presentation. I had it shortened so that I will be able to answer your questions. Sister Aya, I'm now ready for those who'd like to ask questions.
Thank you, Bishop. Thanks a lot for the very detailed presentation. Ngayon po, let's open the floor to some of your queries. Pwede na po nating sagutin. Or if you want, you can just type it doon sa ating Q&A na box here.
Parang walang questions, walang may nagtanong eh.
Parang klaro-klaro yata. Ay, meron po tayong pumasok na isa. From Liliana Shili.
Okay, hold on. Sadali ha. All right, here's a good question here. Yung mga nanonood ngayon, please ask your questions. Sabi dito, I built 2 hydroponics gardens. The first was in Ohio. I built it indoors due to cold temperature. The garden worked great. My second was outdoors in Mojave Desert. This garden I made hydroponic due to the very high price of water. I wanted a system where I could reuse the water as much as possible. I had a lot of trouble in this garden due to the water pH. The pH there is very high and it seemed I could never add enough acid to keep the pH at a reasonable level. I was never able to keep it steady and the cost of acid was expensive. As a result, production was greatly hurt. Do you have any suggestions? What could have been done to remedy this problem? Okay, this is a very good question. This is a typical problem that most growers would actually face, yung pH natin. Now, in places where they use underground water, yung tubig natin doon is hard water. And so it affects the ability of the plant to take in the nutrient that's needed for plant growth. And so, mahirap gawin yan. In big greenhouses, they would have computers and machines that would automatically inject a specific nutrient or chemical to balance the pH and the nutrient that's available for the plant. Yung problem ni Michelle here is how is it possible for him or her to reuse the water? A good source, kaya lang sabi niya nasa desert siya eh. If your problem is pH or the quality of water, a good source of water is rain. Yung rain kasi technically, pag walang pollution yung area niyo, it's distilled water. So you are ensured na yung tubig na ginagamit mo, if it's rainwater, will have a pH of 7. So distilled water siya. So neutral. So maganda siya. Of course, pag meron kayong pollution doon, so that wouldn't be a good water source to use. Now, usually ang ginagawa ko, kasi nag-change yung pH natin, if you keep adding on nutrients, if you want to reuse whatever water is available, ginagawa natin, you just keep on adding the nutrient and that spikes out the pH. So what I would recommend in this case is only use the amount of water that you feel will be needed by the plant. So ang ginagawa ko, I will use a small container. Okay? Huwag kang gumamit ng malaking container kasi pag malaking container yung gagamitin mo, that would mean that you would have to work around a lot of water. So it's hard to control the pH if the water is marami. So ang ginagawa ko, I would only use a small amount of water. The amount that will only be needed by the plant, let's say for a number of days. So that by the time that nagamit ko na yung tubig, konti na lang siya. So instead of pag mag-refill ako doon, I can just take out whatever small water is left and then I can put in a new batch. Okay? Meron akong bagong batch na ilalagay. Okay? Kasi usually pag malaki yung container mo, ang mangyayari ngayon, liliit yung tubig mo. So once it happens, especially pag malakas yung once mainit, malakas kasi yung yung evapotranspiration. So ang mangyayari niyan, maraming tubig yung makukuha, pero yung nutrient hindi siya nadadala ng tanim. The plant can only take in so much amount of nutrient. So pag mainit siya, ang mangyayari niyan, yung evapotranspiration ng tanim natin is mataas. Meaning, it will take in a lot of water, but then the nutrient left in the solution will be higher. So that now affects the pH of your water. So ang gagawin mo ngayon, ayaw mo siyang itapon kasi marami pa siya. So once you add water to it, that will now mess up the whole balance of your nutrient and also the pH. Pero if you only use a small amount, like a small bucket or depending on your system, I would do a modular type so that I can, instead of having this huge vat where I put in all the nutrient, ang pwede kong gawin is I can use modular type, small systems. I would, instead of using one big pump, I would be using three or four smaller pumps in smaller tanks where I can control the water easily. So ayun. So pag maubos na yung tubig, all I have to do is take out the water, maliit na lang, then I can put in the new batch. So yung new batch ngayon, maliit lang siya, enough again to survive for another few days. Usually pag lettuce, yung first 3 weeks mo, it will only take in minimum amount of water. Magiging problema yan yung end part mo na. Yung on your 3rd week, that's when almost every day you'll have to put in your batch. Okay lang yan. Rather than start with a huge amount of water or nutrient and then wait out for a few days, then affected na yung pH mo. So yun yung suggestion ko kay Michelle. I would suggest that you use whatever amount of water that you will use for that week, not for the whole crop duration. Kasi yung mga malalaking greenhouse, they would, magtitimpla sila ng nutrient for the whole crop duration and then just add to it whatever amount is needed. So again, use a small batch. I mean, that's what I did. I hope that helps. How to market your product? Can we make another presentation for marketing session? I will leave that up to Sister Karen Nabangan. Hindi ako expert ng marketing, so perhaps I would ask Sister Ayo to do that. Now, before putting up a greenhouse, kung yung purpose nyo is to start a business, wag muna kayong mag-build ng greenhouse kasi once you start harvesting, magkakaproblema kayo. So what I would suggest is build the greenhouse, do the marketing first before you even build the greenhouse. Marami akong clients in the past where nagpatayo sila sa akin ng greenhouse, malalaking greenhouse, like I know there's a place na napagawa siya ng 2,000. Nangyari yun, nagka-problema siya kasi yung greenhouse talaga, it will give you the amount projected. And if you're not able to find a market for that, it's a highly perishable crop. So that's a major concern. I would start with that. I wouldn't even start thinking of building a greenhouse. I would start with the market. Because once you have the market, that would become easy. So perhaps Sister Caroline or Sister Ayo would be able to do that for us. Okay, next question. Paano po yung setup ng my fish tank at hydroponic plants connected to each other? Okay, this is a good one. We call it aquaponics. Okay, just to give you a little background on aquaponics, yung aquaponics, it's a hard system to start with. Kasi una, yung concept niya is you're using fish water. So usually, pag meron kayong aquarium, if you've noticed, yung aquarium natin, after some time, yung tubig nag-green siya. That's called algae. the reason why there's greening or growing of algae in your fish tank is that yung ano natin, yung tawag dito, yung tubig in the tank contains a lot of nutrient galing sa fish waste. And so yung aquaponics, it cycles that water away from the tank and then deliver it onto the plants. Yung plant system, it takes out the nutrient that's in the fish or that's in the fish water and then aerate it in the process. And then after it goes through the system, it goes back to the fish, this time cleaned water. So, paano po yung setup na may fish tank? So, in this system, you can actually use NFT or a grow bed. Recommended ko sa aquaponics yung grow beds. Kung yung mga nag-start ng aquaponics, familiar na kayo sa grow beds. Yung magandang grow bed is gravel. Ang gawin nyo, kumuha kayo ng blue tank, hatiin nyo, cut it into 2 or into half, tapos lagyan nyo siya ngayon ng gravel. Okay? Tapos yung gravel naman is where the plants will be anchored. Alright? So, yung tubig should flow onto the gravel and then water goes back to that type of system. Mahirap i-explain, pero basically, it's the same system. You only install a filtering system to filter out the nutrients. And then the nutrients will now be given to the plants. So, ganyan lang. So again, the best system to use for aquaponics is grow beds. You can actually Google them. Ano ba yung example ng mga grow beds na pwede mong gamitin? You can send me an email and I can send you some pictures of the systems that I made using the aquaponic system. I mean, using the grow bed as my system for my hydroponic plants. Yun. So I think those are the questions.
Bishop, meron pa tayo sa may chat box. Kung napansin mo, we have, I think, 3 of that.
Sister Ayo, I can't hear you.
Hello, Bishop?
Yes,
hello?
Pakiulit.
Meron tayo sa chat box na pumasok from Imelda Sanoy. Ako nila magbasa or can you read it?
It's not the pH rising. Okay na. Nabasa ko na. Okay, meron siyang follow-up. Sabi niya rito, rather the water source at a very high pH was evaporated water. Once replaced, the pH would go way up. In the desert with low humidity and daytime, temperature about, yeah. See, I have no experience with deserts. And so, mahirap talaga. I'm not really sure kung ano yung quality ng tubig doon. But I would recommend if you can find or get a hold of distilled water, I would do that. Kasi sabi mo, you've tried all your best in lowering down the pH. Ayaw talaga. In that, well, actually, I'd share one thing. I had a case in Bohol. Kasi Bohol, yung tubig nila doon, it's an island. The problem with island places is that yung tubig niya galing sa underground. Hindi siya surface water. Yung mga island like Bohol and Cebu, yung tubig nila doon is underground water. What I did before even doing a nutrient formulation for them is I had the water analyzed. Kasi yung tubig kasi meron na siyang mga dissolved elements or dissolved ions. So, natin, we're adding the ions for the plants where in fact, these ions or nutrients are already available in the water. Okay? So, of course, kung anong nakita natin sa internet or anong sinuggest sa atin, yun yung gagawin nating concoction and then bibigyan natin sa plant. Not knowing that these specific elements are already available in the water. For example, yung calcium sulfate. So calcium sulfate is a salt that's already available in the water. So this is something that we have to adjust around. So adding acid or adding other other neutralizer. Actually, yung ginagamit yung neutralizer is either boric acid or minsan gumagamit din ako ng muriatic acid, yung panglempyo ng CR. I would also do that to if the water is really basic, I would do that to adjust it. Pero before putting up any chemical to adjust the pH of the water, I would have the water analyzed kung ano ba yung mga minerals that are in your water. Kasi it's hard for you to do trial and error. It's very expensive. So that's what I would do. I would have it analyzed, and then by water analysis, you'll be able to get whatever nutrient or salt is in your soil, and then you can work around it. That's what I would do, because I cannot recommend what to do right now unless I know the pH or the EC meter of your water. So usually dito sa Philippines, pag may problema kayo sa anong tawag dito, yung hard or soft ng pagkakasap ng water nyo, yung mga water district actually do water analysis. You'd be surprised. So you can get a water sample from your source and bring it to where the water is being processed in your place, and they'll give you an analysis of the water for a very small fee. Because that's what we did. Because we did have that problem before kasi we're getting the water from the underground. So ang ginawa namin, I had the water analyzed in yung sa isang water district. So in a place like Dubai or wherever you're at, bring your water sample to where your water district is located. Then that would be enough. But better if you have an access to distilled water, which is very expensive. That's way more expensive than gasoline in the desert. That would do it. I hope you answer your question. Like what I said, I can't give you a definitive answer to that unless we get a water analysis of your water. It's always best to get your water analyzed before you even use them. All right, thank you, Miss Shelley. May tanong dito, paano po yung setup na may fish tank? Tapos na to. At hydroponics connected to each other. Anonymous kasi yung attendee. Can you email me and then I'll send you a drawing? Kasi some might not be interested in doing aquaponics. I have a schematic. I also have plans of Actually, yung pinakita ko ngayon na PowerPoint, yung sa ginawa kong sample na greenhouse, that is actually connected to an aquaponic system. It's a project. This was the last project. I did this project in Dumaguete for a friend of mine. His name is Ryan Credo. I built a greenhouse for him, and this greenhouse is connected to his aquaponic system. So paano yung connection? It's hard to explain. But I have to, I'll send you the schematics if you send me an email. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think those were the questions asked. Sister Ayo, anything else?
I found something sa ating chat from Imelda Sanoy. She said that her question is about the joints for the frames. Because you said a while ago that you will not use the wilding. And how do we make connections of the pipe frames?
Sandali, tinignan ko ngayon yung chat box. Yon. Si Imelda Sanoy, sabi niya, the joints for the frames, you said we will not use welding, and how do we make connections of the pipe frames? Salamat. Okay, good question. Nakita niyo yung pinakita ko kanina. If you, sandali, papakita ko sa inyo. I don't use welding kasi pag wineld mo siya, you cannot anymore transfer it kung saan mo siya gustong ilagay. So I would always recommend to use pipe clips like this. Sandali. I'm trying to find the picture. Share screen. All right. So ito yon. Can you see the screen now? Yung left side ng picture, ito, this is what we call the pipe clips. Nakita mo yung cross bracing na to? Yung pipe clip, it's actually a spring type of clip that connects the two pipes together. So that's what I would use to do that. Kung walang available na pipe clips, actually they're readily available online. Or sa Manila, if you check out the stores that I mentioned, pwede mo silang mabili doon. Now, in this type of system, kung wala kang pipe clips, pwede mong gamitin ng U-bolt. Okay? Kung familiar kayo sa U-bolt, kinakailangan mo lang butasan ng dalawang holes yung isang pipe, and then that should fasten the two pipes together. Ayun. So I hope this answers your question. Pero pag meron ka namang welding machine and you feel that you'd like your greenhouse to be stationary and will be there for as long as you want, then you can do welding. Kaya lang, yung welding kasi ano siya eh, yung welded joints, it becomes yun yung unang kinakalawang. Pag kinalawang yan, masisira yung greenhouse mo. So, yun. Ano pa? Can you share that Facebook where I can find it? So much nice. Okay. I have sent photos of the core boxes I have stocked so that I have no idea on how to use them for hydroponics. This is from Sister Morena. Sabi niya, I'm sorry, from Cheryl Duque. Meron na siyang pinadalang photos of the core boxes I have stocked. It's just that I had no idea. Okay, nasan ba yung core boxes, Sister Cheryl Duque? Hindi ko makita yung, papatayin mo ito, stop share. Alright, meron siyang pinadala daw na core boxes and he'd like to use this for her hydroponics project. Sister Duque, did you send it to my email? Check ko ngayon yung email ko. Wala pa, hindi ko pa siya natanggap. But I'll check it later on. And
Can she go on live?
Sa email po.
Email daw.
Anong email? Kaninong email, Sister Doki? Sister Doki, kaninong email mo pinadala? Is it kay Brother Ronald? Aban kasi siya ng host ng Zoom na to eh. Or to someone else. Anyway, yung email ko, nakaslagay sa sa pangalan, it's espedilla.ma@gmail.com. Sa inyo po, from CJet Doke. Okay. Ayun. Alright, I got it now. Alright. I got it now. Okay, nakita ko na. Ito ba yung boxes mo? So, I'm not sure how... Oh, okay. Wow, this is nice. All right. All right, nakita ko na. Sister Cheryl, yung nag-email sa akin si Jet Doke. I'm not sure if yung nagtanong is si Jet or si Sister Cheryl Doke. This is actually a very good possible system na pwede mong gamitin. I'm not sure I'll have the time to answer that now. Gagawa siguro ako ng sketch kung paano mo siya gamitin. But I feel that you can use or you can do a floating raft system for this project or for this design. Pwede mo siyang gamitin sa floating raft system. Can you give me the dimension of we both watching it and so okay. So they're both watching it. So Brother and Sister Doke, ang suggestion ko, bigyan mo ako ng dimension ng ng mga panels. But I think this is a very good material to use for a floating raft system. Okay? Pwede mo siyang gamitin para maging lalagyan ng tanim. Siguro I'll come up with a drawing para makapagbigay ako ng possible suggestions sa material na ginagamit mo. Okay. Okay ba yan? Brother and Sister Doke? Nakita ko na yung panel tapos bibigyan ko kayo ng drawing. Yan. So, may nagtanong sa akin, this is from Adore. Ano daw siya? Manugang daw siya ni Sister Arlene Sales. Okay. Email lang. Siguro I'll answer the question on the email na lang. Okay. Thank you very much, Sister Carlin. Wala na sigurong question. I think that's all for the questions na posted sa chat. May bagong question ata eh. May bagong question. Ay, wala na. Okay na. Sa Q&A box. Yung last question dito is about the fish tank at saka hydroponic plants connected to each other. Magsasend mo lang ako ng just send me an email with this question and then I'll give you the sketch of the project I did for aquaponics.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Bishop, for the learnings today. And I'm sure that our participants who are here needed to hear the training because they really wanted. And we would like to remind those who attended our webinar, should you start doing this, please also send us your stories. Send us some photos para we can also collect and share with those members who are yet to begin this this project. Okay, I think that's it. Boys, are you there? Okay, wala. Nakuha na po natin lahat yung email address. Okay, boys, I think this is it. We will conclude our webinar. Any announcements?
Do we need to, well, announcements, guys. I think we still have a lot of webinars. Please follow our posts. By and by, mangungulit kami. Ayo, may dalawa ka pa, Ayo, right?
Yeah, we have one on Monday for
the webinars.
Freelance writing and Tuesday, Thursday for ESL. How to teach English to beginners.
Yeah.
Yan yung ating next week.
And then we have a big one on June 26. That's on a Friday around 9 a.m. with the owner of Filipino Virtual Assistants. That's for those who'd like to go freelancing. So we have a lot. Sister Ayo, thank you for inviting us to be part of this. Ronald for hosting this one. If you guys have something to say, maybe I need to show my face. Again, I don't know if we have somebody we have invited for closing prayer. If not, I can say it. Ang ganda naman ni Ayo, pambihira. Hindi, naka-t-shirt lang ako kasi akala ko magpa-farming tayo. But Bishop Mark, thank you. I have learned so much. My notes are full. But we will get in touch with you. This is very, very helpful. I think there's something, a niche for those people who'd like to go farming the sure way. Ronald, do you have anything to say before we close?
Nothing but
your piece.
wonderful. Thank you very much, Bishop Espedilla, and to those who have participated. Thank you, Ayo, for setting this up as well. Pleasure to be able to host this. You.
Wonderful. Bishop Mark, tingin ko baka meron pa tayong part 3. Would love to learn more.
Like what I said, this is farming, gardening, and hydroponics is a very special niche. It's not a lot of people are into it, pero those who are into it are really into it. So, I can always help you out in any way that I can. I've been doing hydroponics for a long time. I used to do this for a living. I used to construct greenhouses, build greenhouses for people. So I'm willing. I was doing it for a fee before, but right now I'm doing it free of charge. So
if that's the case, come to Bacolod. You need to set up the hydroponics. Again, maraming salamat to those that stayed. We have around 20 plus. You guys are awesome. So we'll have this. We'll close. If it's all right, I will say the closing prayer. See you again on Monday and Tuesday and Friday 2 weeks from now. All right? God bless us all. I'll say the prayer now. Fine, heaven, grateful indeed for this opportunity to be with Brother Mark, Bishop Espedilla, for his graciousness in sharing his expertise. May God continually bless him that he may be able to bless more people in Tacloban and around the Philippines. May bless May thou bless those who are now thinking or revisiting or planning to start their own hydroponics, that this would enable them and empower them to be not just self-reliant, but to be a force also in the community and help out in feeding the world. May thou bless all of us with more technologies that we can share in times of the pandemic. Bless us all with high spirit and bless us all with high aspirations, knowing that with thee everything is possible. We love thee, Father, and thy will be done. Please bless those who will be doing more today as they do about their day. In the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Alright, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Have a good day, guys. Bye, Nald. Bye, Panga.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye, everybody.